Hi, thanks for joining me today. I'm Lori Bates, and I am with Create Better Health SNAP Ed program, and we're affiliated with USU Extension. Also, our lessons are based on USDA recommendations. Well, let's get started because I know you're probably busy this week doing, holiday stuff and spring break and all that fun stuff, and oh gosh, enjoying the nice weather we're going to have this week. Okay, so don't forget to exercise. Today we're going to do a meat slice swirl, and it's pretty easy to do, and the nice thing is you can do it the night before or that morning before you go to work, and then all you have to do is put it in the oven. That's it. So let's show you how to do it, shall we? All right, so first of all, you can use any type of potato that you like. You can do sweet yams, regular potatoes, russets, anything you have on hand will work out good, or whatever you want. I chose sweet potato, and what I did is I washed rinsed the outside, and then I put it in the microwave, 900 power, and then for each potato, it's 2 to 3 minutes, depending on how big it is. For every potato after that, it's going to be an extra minute. So if I put this big one in there, it'd be probably the 3 minutes. And then if I had another one, it would be 4 altogether. And make sure when you're putting it in the microwave, it goes around the plate, not into the plate. So we don't want it smoked. What else? Then when it comes out, put it in some aluminum foil with the shiny side in, so that when it's cooling down, those heat modules will start pushing it back into the yam itself. Okay? 15 to 20 minutes in the aluminum foil. So do it first thing before you get started getting all your other stuff prepped. For this full recipe, it's going to be 2 cups of the potatoes of your choice. And so you just I'm going to do half the recipe, but I'll tell you what the whole recipe is. And then I'm just going to cut this potato in half, just like this. We're going to scoop it into our bowl, just out of the peeling itself. Not have to worry about cutting it any farther than that. Okay. And this is going to be about a cup, but we want 2 cups. And the full recipe will make, about 6 to 8 swirls, depending on how thick you cut them. Okay. All right. Then we're going to add a little bit of milk. You could add a little bit of butter if you wanted, and you can just leave the butter out and just add milk. And we're just going to get these looking like mashed potatoes. Okay. Get that all mixed in there. And I do have some butter here, so go ahead and add that. You can use margarine too if you want, or just the milk. Okay. Then when that's all mixed in, we are ready for the other ingredients, one being a hard-boiled egg, and this is the season for hard-boiled eggs for sure. And when you're doing a hard-boiled egg, let me come closer, the egg, and you'll see there's no green lining around it, so it shouldn't have any green that goes around that yellow part of the yolk. Okay, just bring my water up to a boil, and then I put the cold-ish eggs in one by one with a spoon, and it cooks to about 11 minutes. So set your timer, and then put it in some icy cold water after it gets done, and you'll get beautiful eggs. And you could go 11 to 12 minutes if you're a little bit nervous about the centers not being done. Another thing too is take one out, cut it open, see what you think. So do an extra 1 or 2 so you can check it. All right, so I'm gonna get this just chopped up, and And this is 1 egg, but you need 2 for the whole recipe. This is such a beautiful dish, and I believe you're going to love it. And one of the things that's really good about this dish, there's a lot of good things, but one of the good things is that you can switch out all of the potatoes for what you want, and then also you can switch out the meat. So you can have turkey, you can have chicken, you can have beef, so whatever you want ground-wise will work out really good. All right, so we're just going to put the eggs right in there. We got them all crumbled. And mix that in. And you could just wait and mix it all together at once if you want. And you can see already starting to be a really nice high protein dish. I have my celery, and I wanted to show you how I do celery. You can do it this way or however you want. I just cut it in strips like this, but not all the way because it will hold it that way. And then you just take the knife and go as little or as big as you want, and I would go as little as you could possibly go myself, only because I have a hard time with big stuff like garlic and onions and stuff like that. I want to be able to taste it but not have a huge bite in my mouth. Okay, so for this recipe we're going to do 1/4 cup for the full recipe. And then we have 1 green onion, and you can take your scissors and just cut the whole green onion into your, let's bring this over here, into your potatoes. And then we're going to get some Parmesan cheese. Now the Parmesan cheese that you want, if you want to buy it already pre-grated, great. Okay, and I'm done with the milk. Okay, and then we need 1/3 cup of this. And mine's just the flat kind, but I need to do half of that, don't I? I'm all confused. I'll put a little bit back. Yep, got an onion. All right. So about 1/8 if you're going to half it. And then some Greek yogurt. And this is 1/4 cup. And then some salt and pepper. And I'm just going to, 1/8 isn't very much, so I'll just do a couple of turns. And 1/8 of salt. Okay. And then 1/8 of ground mustard. Okay, we'll mix this in together. Oh, doesn't that look good? Yum, yum. So pretty. Such a beautiful color. Kind of reminds me of Halloween. I wonder why. So that's it for that part. Then we're going to get our ground meat. I have 1/2 pound, but you're going to want 1 pound if you want the full recipe. I'm just going to break that up. And this is turkey. And I'm going to put some egg in there. 1/2 egg, or if you're doing the whole recipe, a whole egg. And some seasoned breadcrumbs. And a little bit of salt and pepper for this as well. You want to make sure everything's well seasoned. And about 1/4 of salt. Now the turkey that I'm using is an 85 lean, 15% fat. I wanted a teeny bit more fat than than you normally would buy probably of turkey. But if you buy the leaner one, it just doesn't seem to stick together as well. We're going to get a 14 by 8 piece of aluminum foil, put it the long ways, okay? And then we're going to, because I'm making a half of this, I'm just going to do half the paper. If you're making a whole, you'll use probably the whole thing. And this is almost identical to cinnamon rolls. And take your hands, you're going to have to wash them after because we're handling raw meat here. But just spread it out. Make sure that your foil doesn't peek through. And if you do get a few holes, it will work itself out, because you can mend them as you go. Okay, then get it to the end as you can and make it as square as you can. And it doesn't have to be like perfect, because you can fix it as you roll it. Okay, this is just a half of the recipe, so know that the whole recipe will be the whole piece of this foil. Questions, please put them in the comment section and I'll come back and see if there's any. Okay, so then you're going to make it, if you're going to make the whole sheet, you're going to do this short side and you're going to roll that up. But because I'm making a half a sheet, I'm going to turn it this way. So the shortest side is what you want. Layer our potatoes on top of that, and then we're going to pop them in the oven. And it's that easy, except for you're going to have a little bit of time in the refrigerator, either the night before or before you go to work, or in the first thing in the morning when you wake up. That would all work out really, really well. Make sure it goes through the whole part of the meat here. You guys see that? Because you're going to want it to somewhat match, but near the end, leave about an inch, okay? Because you want it to be able to seal, just like you would a cinnamon roll, all right? And if you think this is too much, I might have put way too much, maybe not, potato in here. Oh, I think it looks okay. If you put this on this, see if we can see this a little better. All right, so if you take your foil and just kind of pull it over like that, and then so it looks like that, all right? And then just keep kind of rolling it like you would. Have you ever made a Swiss roll before? Kind of same thing, use the foil to help you out. So take your hand and just kind of roll that around. And if it cracks any at all, it's okay. Just take your foil and have it mend it for you. Okay, so just keep going with your hand. And then if it cracks, mend it with your foil. Okay, keep going. So don't fret if it does crack, all right? Because it is doable. All right, then take your other end, pull it over, and then moisten that edge to look like. Okay, so you see this is where the edge is. And then we're just gonna moisten that like this and make sure it's sticking. And this will go in the refrigerator for, you know, an hour or two, or overnight, or while you're at work, or while you're playing with your kids, or whatever you're doing. You can get a rack, put it on your cookie sheet with some foil underneath it so the cleanup is nice and easy, because we want it to be fast right now. I mean, we're doing lots of things with family and friends and kids, hopefully. All right, so then you're going to say, okay, this is done in the fridge, right? And if you're in a real big hurry, you could just cook it this way. It just seems like it holds up better if it has time in the fridge. Okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and cut about a 2-inch on slices, okay? And then we're going to take that apart like this and then smash it down with your hand. And then that will go in a 350-degree oven till it's about 160 degrees or 30 to 35 minutes on cooking time. If it needs more, then, you know, have a little bit more. It should be 160 degrees. It also can be frozen. Right now you could just do these all up, freeze them, and then you'd have them for another time when you're wanting to have something fancy, but you don't want to go through all the prep work. When it comes out of the oven with your yummy vegetables, this is what you have. Doesn't that look nice? Looks really fun and good. All right, when you get that all done, you could drizzle it with some gravy, and I have a gravy recipe below that you can use. That's really simple and easy, so if you don't have a gravy mix or if you don't like using the mixes, you can do it from scratch. While that's cooking, let's do our lesson, shall we? Okay, so when you hear the word protein, like in our protein my plate, what do you think of? I know when I think of protein, I think of peanut butter, eggs, maybe tuna, nuts. I like to eat nuts too. Okay, so other things that could be included in that list would be chicken, turkey, pork, beans, dried, canned, or frozen, lentils, tofu, or other soy products, nuts and other nut butters other than peanut butter that I mentioned. Cow's milk, yogurt, and cheese. While milk from soy, coconut, rice, and almonds are a good source of calcium and vitamin D, they do not contain a sufficient amount of protein. So the amount of protein a person needs depends on how active you are. So let's say if you're an average woman, you'll need about 5 ounces of protein. If you know of a deck of cards, it's about 3 ounces. Or the palm of your hands is about 3 ounces. Unless you got a huge hand, then it would probably be more. An average man needs around 6 to 6.5 ounces of protein every day. So each of the following amounts provides approximately about 1 ounce of protein. So 1 egg, like a medium large egg, 1 tablespoon of peanut butter, a fourth of a cup of beans, 12 almonds, 24 pistachios, 7 walnuts. I know 7, right? You're just like, really? 1 slice of deli turkey breast, chicken breast, stuff like that. Chicken, beef, seafood, and pork are more likely to serve in that 3 ounce size of the deck of cards or the palm of your hand. Okay, so 1 small chicken breast, 1 lean hamburger patty is about in that 3 ounce serving size. And so now we know a little bit more about protein. Maybe we could figure out why we need it. So the benefits of consuming protein is that there are building blocks. So if these were blocks, we could just build one on top of the other. That is what happens with our muscles and tissues and cartilage and bones and stuff, is that it builds upon it and fixes and repairs all of those tissues. And that includes our blood as well and our skin. Okay? So protein also helps us to grow and to heal as well. Well, how are you guys doing on exercise? I hope you're doing well. Today, I'm going to talk a little just a teeny bit about resistant training. And that means basically that, okay, this is normal if you're just moving your muscles normally, right? Your larger muscles like your arms and your legs and your heart. But then when you add something to it, it's got to have more resistance on that muscle, okay, than just doing this, okay? So you've got more weight on the muscle and working it a little bit harder. So this type of exercise can come from vacuuming or mowing the lawns or just lifting water jugs, or we could just do soups of can, or children. So lifting children up and down is a good resistant training. So make a goal this week of what you, and most of all, just enjoy the holiday and have a good time. This is Larry Bates, from my home to yours.